Hi and welcome to Phuket in Focus. It's our weekly look at the Phuket news, and we have the managing editor, Simon Ostheimer. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the sauna.
The hot room.
We're doing Bikram yoga whilst we're doing the Phuket news. And did somebody not tell you about the new dress code?
I missed that memo.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll just hide the fact that you don't have a tie. Let's get stuck into it. If you want to head down to the beaches and swim during June, you're on your own.
Could be. Breaking story, basically, that there's a lifeguard association and they're contracted to cover all the beaches on the west coast, and they save up to 80 lives a month, so doing an incredible service.
Yeah.
But the renewal of their contract has somehow been missed, and so from May 27th there could be zero cover on the beaches. So basically, as we said on the front, if you're swimming, you could be on your own.
Now let me just go back a year. I sort of recall this happened last year as well.
Yes, you're right. There was kind of a contractual dispute, and they didn't want to necessarily pay the money that was being asked for. And in the end, it was resolved, and they carried on performing the service as before. So let's hope it's going to be the same case here, because that's the worst thing would be when the waves and the currents and everything is strongest. It's the season that we're coming into, to not have any kind of protection or people watching out for you.
Because literally this bureaucracy can have blood on its hands, because we have a lot of people dying. Some 50 or so people drown each wet season.
Well, if you go into the water though, it's at your own risk. I mean, it's not their responsibility to save you. They're employed to look out for you, and they'll try and save you if they can. But if you're going into the water at any time in the ocean, you do have to take some kind of responsibility for your own well-being as well. If the current is strong, don't go in. If the weather is stormy, ill-advised to go for a swim.
If you're living in the outskirts of Moscow in the middle of winter, and you've got your hard-earned ruble, is it, the currency there, together, and you've booked your trip to Phuket, you arrive there, and it could be in the middle of the wet season, pouring with rain and 3-metre waves coming onto the west coast. You'd be saying to yourself, I'm going swimming. I don't care what anybody says.
Go in the pool.
Good idea. The other thing, of course, is that the lifeguards, they do tell people, don't go swimming, it's dangerous.
Yep.
And people ignore them. Yeah,
well, like we have on here, we've got the red flag warning. So they will say, either you've got to swim between these certain points where we can watch out for you, or don't go in at all. And people, they do get ignored. And we've had many cases where they've had to go in and rescue these people and endanger their own lives in the process.
Yeah.
But this will be a developing story. Right now, there's going to be no cover for June, but we'll be posting sort of updates on the website as they come in.
Yeah, well, they do a great job, and like in Australia, the whole lifeguard association is very well respected. And if a lifeguard tells you not to go in the water,
you listen.
You just don't. But here it's a little bit different, because lifeguards are, I suppose, a bit of a new thing here. Let's go to page 2 of this week's Phuket news, and a nice little story. And I know we talk about them often, but we can't speak about them enough. And that's the Soy Dog Foundation.
Yep.
They've hit somewhat of a milestone.
Yes. Cross your legs. 50,000 snips.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats.
Yes.
Yes. Basically, so street dogs that they've sterilised, to prevent them from breeding, and it's all part of the ongoing program and campaign to stop stray animals on the island, basically. So amazing milestone, and the work still has some way to go. Yeah. But yeah, well done to them. I
have to say, from the time I first came to Phuket, which is probably, 8-9 years ago now, to now, there is a discernible difference in the number of soy dogs running around. You can really see the work that they've done.
Yeah.
That's good for the dogs, it's good for visitors, good for expats, the people that live here.
Yeah.
They've done an amazing job.
And the important thing is, and I'm sure they're going to do this, is just to follow through. You've got to it's like eradicating a disease. You kind of have to see it through to the very last case to make sure the problem is solved. Soy Dog are also now in Bangkok as well, and so you can see they're sort of taking on a national aspect with their campaign. But as you say, they've done an amazing job here, and there's no reason why it can't apply to the rest of the country.
I think that the great thing about Phuket, it being an island, they do have some sort of control on it, except for the dogs that may want to walk across the Saracen
through
Bridge.
The checkpoint. Yeah.
But for Bangkok, how on earth do you control the problem there?
I think you just tackle it district by district. You pick one place, you get that area sorted out, and then move on to the next. But
and then you manage it forever.
Yeah.
Okay, they do a remarkable job, and John and Jill Dahlia, they should be given any sort of award that we could give them.
And there have been many, but
but they're still such down-to-earth people, and still every day they spend 12 hours looking after the soy dogs. They're remarkable people. All right, another story on page 2. This one's got an environmental focus. When I saw this photo, did one of our reporters go underwater to take this?
I wish I could say yes. We don't actually have an underwater camera in the office.
We didn't have the snorkel available that day.
It was out.
Yeah.
This is supplied by the Phuket Marine Office, but it's an island called Koh Kai Nai, and essentially there's a tour operator, and they'd install these underwater railings to enable tourists to kind of walk along the seabed. What they do is they put a helmet on you, feed air into it, and then you have sort of heavy boots, and then you're able to walk along and experience like underwater life.
I couldn't believe the photo.
But by doing this kind of thing, you're actually destroying the very thing that attracts the tourists in the first place, which is the coral and the reefs, and then it sends away the local aquatic life. So the Marine Office gone in there and they've ripped this thing off.
Of course.
And they've also kicked out the tour operator that was responsible for doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good end to a story. But when I saw those railings attached to the coral, that's just ridiculous.
It's a common problem around Phuket where you see tourists. They go out and they go snorkeling and they step on the coral and they don't realise as soon as you step on it, you kill it. And it takes years and years and years to regenerate.
Got a lot of marine stories today. Another one is that Geelong was setting itself up to be like a one-stop shop, as you've called it in the article on page 3, where people would be able to come and they'd be able to go through immigration and all the other processes to arrive on the island.
Yeah.
But it's not quite working out like that.
They're not quite ready for it. They've said, we really like the concept and principle, and what it would be is basically sort of yachts and boats arriving, as you say, in Phuket, in Thai waters. They want to come on shore, and rather than having to go to all these different places to sort of file their documents or send them off to different departments, you go in there, everything is done, one-stop shop. So anyway, they've said that they agree in principle, great concept, but we're not quite ready to take it on yet. So something for the future.
Geelong Bay is just about as busy as Bangla Road sometimes.
It can be, yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning, it's mayhem down there. Let's move on to Life, which is the magazine in the middle of the Phuket news each week, and it's almost like a separate read. Love what you've got in here this week. Tell us about that front page photo.
Okay, we say The Right Stuff. It's basically a new tour company in the Old Town.
Always wanted to be a hand model.
Yeah. And you tour the Old Town on bike, but in case you're a little bit lazy or that kind of puts you off, the bikes are actually have an electric and also petrol motor. Basically the concept is once you reach a certain speed you can flick a switch and then you don't have to pedal anymore. It's just you're cruising around. They are legal, I did check this, and they're within the limit for a motorised vehicle without needing a licence.
Okay, and will you rent these?
And you rent them. These are for sale, but for this purposes of this tour, basically you just sign up for that. And it's an interesting tour, this one. It's called Walk and Roll. And so you first pedal around the Old Town, and you go see various sites and things. And then you end up in the market. You buy ingredients to make a dish, and then you're taken to this lady's home, the tour guide leader, and then she teaches you how to make Hokkien mee, which is like a Phuket specialty. It's one of the most famous local noodle dishes, and so everybody gets to have a go at that, and then you eat with her family. So it's kind of like a wonderful way to sightsee and also get an insight into local culture.
She could be a very wealthy woman if she sticks at this, because I think that'd be a great tour. And whilst you're riding around Phuket town and you're in the old area, you should drop in and see the World in Grey exhibition.
That's right. Yeah, it's an exhibition of black and white photography. It's in the Baba, the Peranakan Centre, on the corner of opposite the old Standard Chartered Bank.
Same road as on
Phang Nga.
Phang Nga Road.
Phang Nga Road and Phuket Road on the corner there. Yeah. And it's basically a group of local black and white photography enthusiasts just showing their work. Some of it's recent, some of it goes back generations.
I love the way they call it analogue photography.
Yeah. And these are serious enthusiasts. They don't just take photos in black and white and then print them out in the Kodak shop. They actually process them all in the darkroom, so they're strictly old school.
They've been taking the photos, many of them, or some of the older ones, on large format negatives, which are like this big, where they then have to not only shoot the negative at very slow speeds, they then have to develop it in a dark room and then put it in the enlarger and the whole process where, and only after you go through the hours of developing the photo and then drying it and can you see if it was a good photo. These days you go, click, I am.
Well, it's not even
another 50.
The issue is it's not even just the one click. You'll take 20, 30 shots of the same thing, and then later on you pick the best. So
Yeah.
it's kind of lost that art side to it. And this is something
Yeah.
that they're trying to bring back.
And look, I hope that they make this almost a permanent exhibition somewhere in Phuket town, because some of the photos they've got of the old town are fantastic, and some of the photos that the relatives of some of the people putting the exhibition together are when the King visited in 1956 or 57.
Yeah.
Fantastic photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it's only a temporary exhibition, but they are looking for a more permanent home, and not just for this, but for other art exhibitions. So actually, if anybody is watching and has a venue or a suggestion, I mean, please contact us here at the paper and we can put you in touch. Maybe so.
Simon, our foyer. And the other one, just very quickly, the Irish Times, which have been great supporters of Class Act Media and the Phuket News for many years, sort of famous, they're a bit of a father and son team.
Yeah, this is Ronald and Thomas Corley, and basically it's our people piece this week, so kind of interview them about how it was that they came to Phuket, why did they start up the business, and then more interestingly, how the father-son sort of dynamic works,
Yes.
who calls the shots, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a great read. It's well-known local personalities.
So you've got the 2-in-1, you've got the Phuket News, and then you've got Life inside, and it's only 20 baht and available at over 600 locations.
Yep.
And you're now going to name all of them.
I'll tell you off camera after we finish shooting.
Come back to you in an hour.
Yep.
Simon Ostheimer from the Phuket News, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll have more Phuket in Focus very soon.